This is David Wade. On the 9th of August, 1965, Ray Newton read and recorded his two poems, Scott Allen and Untitled, at my home. I recorded Ray's Murder Brooms at the same session. He died on the 22nd of August, 1965. This is Ray Newton, testing. Okay. Ray, do you want to sit down and read your poetry?
A little pickup.
Oh yeah, he's picking up now. Okay, here we go. Here's
Scott Allen. Their blood is in the closet. Your raincoat is in my heart. With the elevator, which will someday take you to the basement of my condominium dreams. Yesterday, I saw you in the ashtray, talking with a lonely cigarette. When you were gone, my teeth dragged the sidewalk. The roaches come out to watch me cry. Why must we continue burying our lives with money when we are so close under the bed? In this room of no windows and one door which bleeds.
Very good, Ray. Now here's Untitled.
Untitled. Out of the sockets of this room, color crawls, seeing toys, which these old people, having forgotten, become. From this ceiling hang pink caskets with gold nameplates. The cellophane windows turn to coal while the mute clocks undress frozen shadows. Coming in through the cellar, these things touched me, smelled the book I held, took a boy's picture from my wallet, and disappeared.
Good. Very good. Mountains, rivers, windows, zoos, envelopes, leaves, layering, hand towels, clocks, roofs, bridges, rubber bands, feet, the dance, murder brooms. The rain inside the clock glues the blue and white leaves on the window. The envelopes are dancing with the hand towels to the river's concert of notebooks. After layering my gastrocnemius, I pick up my feet and give them to the zookeeper who feeds footsteps to hungry rubber bands. The telephone poles have stopped hanging around together. Hands call me from the wrinkled roofs. I sleep under the bridge. Seven poems by Brother Dimitrios. Poem number 1 is Credo. Only 3 poems exist. 1, birth. 2, the everyday. 3, apocalypse. Construction 2. Over Skid Row on a coconut. Over the tents of exotics. Over caterpillars of pus. Over the ants of Hungarian homonesis. Over the curlicued Whitmanian paradox. Over ejaculations of flags and spines and broken harps, past magnetic mice in wheelchairs, past stairs or stars, past murals of monks and a chalice of bolts, past lending libraries closed to victims of Clark Kent, past meaningful and sincere, and sensitive and esse, and Daruma and Coca-Cola and Dow. Below the bones of the dormitory of the spirit, below spermy prayers, below doubled-up doves, below memories of the Green Hornet, below and Tutmos and Charlie Chan and licorice skeletons of pedestrians, under 1904 bikini queens in the cabarets of Transylvania with icons of violin Brecht and hearts and amulets and futuristic sublimation, under old men who enter railroads of the yawn, under eschatological analyses of the fart, under the organ box already earmarked for the infiltration course, beneath methane goofy teeth, thumbtack en la cabeza de Mexican soda jerks, kept by comatose Inca cabbies, beneath the dwarf, killed by a haircut, Construction 4. Little man. Big car. Anybody's girl. Meditation 12. The skull in the pawn shop had a lover with a handlebar mustache. When handlebars were the rage, but only the mind admits a mustache in the wind now, or a beard in the breadline of the blessed. Elegy for Ray Newton. A funny day. Warts on watches. Fists on forehead. Effeminate iguanas suck scents. A crucifix of urine. Construction 6. In memoriam Ray Newton. In Romania, rumination. In a Dixie cup, death. In love, enough. In guns, goats, cars, parks, queers, quacks, 10-minute ecumenical festivals. In a hermit's hernia, candy bars. Music, enough. Music, enough for Negroes. Music, enough for niggers and birds. Music, hot enough for sexy Swedes, war-painted woodpeckers. Music, not enough. Music, not enough for mood. Music, not enough for the mystic pine. Music, not enough for fur, fear. Music, not enough for vodka violas. Not enough Trau music. Not enough mildewed spoons. Not enough knuckles and nuts in a goldfish bowl. Nocturne. Some crickets in the orange grove bury Ray Newton's clock. Yet the trauma continues. On the road, I swore some redneck dug up Malcolm X and Captain Marvel with some kid's sand shovel. My refrigerator clicks. "14 Poems by David Wade. 8 Songs on the Crucifixion is poem number 1. Song of No One, number 1. I saw God in a tree with birds in his hair. I asked, God, why are you in a tree with birds in your hair? God shivered in the tree and shook the birds from his hair. Ballad of the Deputy. When I found Christ turned crooked, I swore in and said, let's go get him. He was at a 5 and 10 snatching pencils from a cup. I slipped on the cuffs and said, let's go gently. Aria of the Judge. Christ slunk before me, biting his nails. I climbed to the desk, scratching my chin. Well, I grinned, it don't look good. Hatred for the state, vagrancy, misdemeanor bordering on felony. Christ looked up and coughed. I think he had a cold. Chant of the jury. We of the workers, realtors, bankers, we of the world of commerce and trade, we of the city and state and nation, we of the payer and paid. Can this be? Can Christ stand before us and shame us? Our Lord hold us to blame? No. I stole the pencils, that's all. Is it true you also wrecked public property? Yes. What's your excuse? None. Why haven't you a job? I don't work. Why? No reason. You are our Savior. That's right. I'm Jesus Christ, the Son of the only living God. Your Honor, I object. That's immaterial. Objection sustained. Verdict. You, Jesus Christ, will be made an example. You will sit in May on a chair till dead. Tale of the jailer. He was skinny and jumpy, and in loose sandals pranced about as if metal would melt in his mouth. His toga was so badly torn that one day he made of his toga a turban to fit his head. His nakedness he ignored. Of the lice he cared for and placed in a sack hanging from his neck. It also contained a rope trick, rabbits in a hat, cards, rings, bells, and dice that changed into men. Of the prisoners, he selected 13 to pick up butts, deliver lectures, and replace bulbs. He was sloppy in appearance, but efficient in practice. The prisoners adored him, as did the rope trick, cards, rings, lice, bells, dice that changed into men, and rabbits in a hat that overflowed the sack hanging from his neck. At 7 a.m. EST, I went in and checked. He was asleep in his turban. I prodded him with my keys, saying, "Come on, look sharp. We're all waiting." We? Who's we? You know, everybody. Have any last words? No, I don't think so. Okay. A fusion of the executioner. My cozy chair, I prepare for the Son of God. Under rubber straps, he relaxes. When I throw the switch, it is Christmas! Lay of the Undertaker. Humph! I'm not used to this stuff, you know. I can't give a fig for charity or the fears of priests and prayers. It leaves me stale, this passion over books and beads. Give a man a suit, not shoes with a sermon. Myself, I'd rather ram my ass down a fireplace, fly kites, fill stockings, sip coffee and kisses in white stucco kitchens. But see, this flesh at my cheek remains. My pagan paunch is the result of life, not mind. My fingers are fat and kind, careful to feel stone and ice, the rope tightly drawn around any neck. So, when they wouldn't bury him, left him in the snow near a river where a sewer emptied, I took my sleigh and picked him up, dead buds frozen to his face. I wrapped him in a pink sheet, then plowed through snow till the snow exploded green and bushes popped red lace. The glass of a lake blossomed up. Now, high on a hill, I met a boy who held a pole of thyme and oak. Together we planted Christ and warmed his feet with a wish. This done, the boy banged his pole and hailed a passing cloud onto which he climbed. I walked down the hill and rode away in my sleigh. As I turned the curve, I looked behind and saw Christ on the hill stuck to the pole. He was growing. Then I saw the lake. There was no more. Song of No One, number 2. I saw God killing time, window shopping. I asked, God, why are you killing time, window shopping? God bought me a window and said, here, seek, and ye shall find. Confession of a Bashful Professor. The traps of your lips, your eyes, your hair, all I with care placed in the inside of my briefcase. The kiss. 2 hands of bourbon touched my face. The sun, an enormous candle, smoked out. Inside my tongue, behind my belly button, grenades of powdered sugar cut loose. Dates like spikes were riven, and rooms glared gold. Intimations of mortality. Professor Bodkin pauses over his puffed rice, poisoned by his wife. Crypt 33, on the day, the very day, they laid your marvelous body in Crypt 33. Egyptian kings and queens twisted in their coffins. The armed forces of the world stood at half-mast. Fidel Castro was handed a loaded cigar. The Three Stooges showed up with hammers that really hurt. And Arthur, Prince Arthur, was able to admit to himself that you had been the greatest misfit since Willie Loman drove a kamikaze car through a witch-racked universe. As for Joe, his baseball bat was seen by a colored cleaning woman to writhe on the wall to which it was nailed. I wish I could write you an Adonais-type poem, Marilyn, but you were neither poet nor tubercular, neither brain nor really body, but some halfway house to all our lust after dark female knowledge. Sure, you never quite made it, so they say, as queen or genius, but then we never quite made it as people. Roman numeral 27 for Carlos Drummond de Andrade. Contemplated headlines in his socks. Beat his wife at Tibetan pocket pool 12 and a half times in a row over how Milton did a soft shoe on why wives should be beheaded. On Tuesdays, third day after St. Pete's Day, they came across 25 athletes agonizing themselves into ballet slippers for a benefit disturbance for people ignorant of the death of J. Pinto Fernandez. Attempted rape, Hyde Park, Tampa, for David Anton. Although the cat burglar was a man, although the girl got caught in the altogether, although the cops got cut on the broken bodies, although her daddy did Zen isometrics, although the neighbors fell through the roof, although God played poker, although Ho Chu Dai crossed himself with a crutch, although the mayor mailed a prize, although the judge was justified, although the Nigerian nightingale murdered Machado, although osmosis replaced electricity, although positons posit some kind of antimatter, although spotlights surprised a plumber, although the milkman spat a cob, the catman cut out, leaving a telephone directory, acne, reasons for his great-great-grandmother's baldness, and after-dinner mint, suicide incidents among Slavic newsboys for 1905. Hyde Park, April 1965. The bum. You wonder where I go, with a dirty sack over my shoulder. Wonder why I stand, look at the sky, my hands at nothing. Wonder why I shift my sack, start across the street. Wonder if I pass beyond tree, house, bush. Wonder if I get there, look at the sky, my hands. Wonder if my dirty sack will break everywhere. Wonder why I scream, scream. No one can hear me. You wonder where I go with my wife and my sack. You wonder if I wonder where I end. Imperative. Cleo kissed nice. Diamonds took flight. The world, a sun. Cleo nude, knew nuns dream by day. Gems extinguished in moons. The world had something then. Cohabito ergo sum. Horror story. How could I tell my friends that when the moon was full and it was midnight, I'd sprout claws, fangs, become hairy, and plunge into the darkness as the Wolfman? I tried to tell them, but they wouldn't listen. And when they saw me skittering through alleys where the moon tiptoed in shadows, they only smiled and said, "Isn't he a card?" When the moon came up again, I started shaving as fast as I could. No good. My claws jammed my scissors. As for my fangs, useless to clench my mouth, to go to the dentist, who would ask questions. I went to my friends and said, look at me, I really get this way. They laughed. and offered me a bone. I kill them all! Standing at my window, overlooking Shadyside, I feel a sense of accomplishment. Nothing is amiss. The paintings speak from their frames. There's a rusty door. My wife's a ghost. Even my dungeon has assorted screams and chains. Would you care for a tall, slender glass of rich, red wine? Roman numeral 23 for Ray Newton. Ho Chu Dai kept a magic panther for target practice to test his own heart-mind. Now many say this panther didn't know heart-mind should be one. So every time Ho Chu Dai set himself up as a target, this panther would try tearing his heart in half, thinking, if only Ho Chu Dai will stand still, I could double his happiness. God, Kitten Minister. The kitten was black with a patch at its chin and acted the ape when it played. It blinked when it purred and bit when it scratched, and finally it scratched its last. It's dying, some wits said. Opals are glass, its eyes were the same, and open the morning it died. That same morning, a Methodist minister administered suicide. In tight black columns, he saw through his tall windows the sky through the blood of his forehead. All night he had sat, and God had not said a word, and God still had not said a word, and reason or dream or both or none, or maybe his childhood invention had caught at a scream in his past and brought back mother or brother or any other ghost or unforgotten black and doubly blackly dripping deed. All night God was silent on his golden throne. All night he had seen the blonde tresses in the minister's mind twisting about a secret thorn. All night he had sat and waited and watched probably with interest, a small snail climbing up the thorn, and the tresses caught and clutched and rasped and wrenched, and all the hours and seconds paned by in the minister's mind until the thought of the punctuation mark of the shotgun came. And now in this life, no longer a life, with space sprawling away, ticking soundlessly like an electric clock, the minister centered the barrels of his deliverer. Kaplam! And stout stars still signaled through a frosty morning where the sight of one's breath would only be for the warm and happy living. The kitten was tossed into a cardboard box by the shade of a cinnamon tree, and the minister was sealed in a box of steel of amazing symmetry. Florida scene for G.S. Standing here on this white beach, I see the greenness go liquid into whips of angered salt. Salt, be silent. The sand slips beneath my feet. The wind nuzzles, then escapes my ears. Curious, I see the sun so bright, it walks across the sky, spilling light over the green gulf, saying, listen. Listen to my sister, the sea, and remember, remember. Your memory is as green as your youth, as naked and green as your deaths. Many times I've seen the Gulf, the green water, the salt lashing into tits the waves, the sun so sure walking across the sky, scattering light, light, light. I write this nothing for you, George, you, husbandman to your hunger, eating cans of applesauce, hunched in corners seeing the Atlantic, who tread the pebbled path to meet the sea. Sea, be still. Haiku 27, written at the edge of Tampa Bay, 1 January 1966. What's more important, you in the sun with a thought, or that quiet duck? Five poems by Richard Jaworski. Number 1, Patina. The copper paper boy from the factory section rides the motorcycle stars with a full moon headlight. Sherwood Heights. He slips through the brick house shoulders looking for a shadow. Squeals over tired roofs. Hounds empty patios. Pauses in a snowdrift. The wind with snowflakes paints a haunted snow bike. Stravinsky's Firebird. Stripped trees swish into ponytail curves and freckled breasts of ivory Sharon. The winds crush them, meshing hot skin, striped snowball. For Ray Newton, why does the blue rose of your dead dream fall from the sky in the raindrop? Why does your sky voice never stop whispering, chanting, I miss your black teeth factories and green-eyed fields? September 1965. Stoics in a fevered parking lot between concrete wrinkles, olive trees glare, gnarled bark, neon galaxies blink back. Ethereal dream, O Lord, unseen fire, burn within me, that I might melt the ice-glazing cold that we call world, that I might touch the light that hides beyond dull white icebergs, beyond heavy horizons. Lord, in evenings, thy struggling to reach and hold through chasms of space I know in the bubbling of my blood. Thy fingers pushing through aura of bright sunsets and blazing clouds I sometimes brush in breathless lunging. And from bleating winds, thy voice I often hear rolling and calling through canyons and gullies of those silent seas of sunbeams. Lord, I am in the other end of night, roaming in the wilds of darkness, with red-jawed scavengers whose tongues smack against their lips, whose paws pace over this rocky place while their howls echo from the gray sky, whose communication lies in stomach growls, whose dwellings are sharp white rocks, piercing the sky like narrow needles, whose aspirations are shifting sands that form whirlwinds with any wind and wither away like their echoing howls. Lord, strike my soul, and as a welder binds steel to steel, bind our souls. Take my hand, carry me where racing spirits dance from infinitude to infinitude, and know not the wrappings of this existence. Lord, fire, look on me, microbe in the wet cold, wolf in the dark desert. The voice answered, look, then thou shalt see me, know me, fly away where star-rise blazing blesses. I felt the tug, my feet flew the earth, climbed the heaven, and looked I on the house of height, at verdant plains of grasses, bending under blankets of winds, green worshippers swaying by the billions to altars of gleaming blue mountains turning white with descending clouds of burning suns. Window shopping. On dark March windows, two winos reflect driftwood in winter ocean.